If you're making over $100,000 a year, how much are you actually paying your future self? 20%, 10%, 5%? The problem for high earners isn't income, it's everything else competing for it. Life gets expensive, and your financial goals get pushed to the back burner when they should obviously be the priority. And keeping your money on the wrong burner can cost you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout the rest of your life. I'm Chris Wendt, and I paid off $43,000 of debt and turned that into a multiple $100,000 net worth. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 steps you can start doing today to pay your future self even more. And before we get into that, I have to talk about this interesting chart here. So this is the personal savings rate in the United States. And basically what that means here is how much money people are saving or investing, putting towards financial goals, right? So you'll see over here, this 5%. Throughout the last 25 years, it's remained pretty consistent, right? Plus or minus, 5% or a couple percentage points throughout the time. And then all of a sudden, in April 2020, it shoots up to about 32%. 32%. Why did they do that? Well, if you remember, that was like peak pandemic time. So we were all stuck at home. We were all not doing stuff. We were all not going places. We were not doing vacation, right? So we were doing less. So everyone was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to use this time to put some money away towards, a future me. I'm going to pay myself in the future, right? So that's what happened there. And I need to overlay it with this one here. And this is the personal consumption expenditures chart. And that's just a fancy way of saying this is the amount of stuff that we buy. And as you can see, the line goes up, 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 up. And then at that same point, April 2020, there was a massive dip. How come? Well, we stopped going places, we stopped buying things. So obviously this number is going to go way down. So I am not trying to get all nerdy on you here, but the reason why I'm showing you this is if we overlay these two, there's a clear understanding that when we spend less money, we save more. And when we save less money, it's probably because we're spending more. So what's been happening throughout history is we're saving average 5%, right? Because all of this stuff is going up, 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 right? There's more options. There's more availability on stuff. It's easier to get, like I can order something right now. By the end of this video, it's going to be at my door, right? So things are just easier to buy, but we have to make it easier to save and invest. And that's what this video is about, because by the looks of this data, this chart here, this is going to be painful. So maybe you want to sit down for what I'm about to say, but saving and money, saving and investing money is a choice. It's a choice. It's very clear. We're choosing to save, be average, and then here we chose to save more because we didn't know what else to do with our money, right? So how we can do this systematically going forward is part of the 3 steps that I'm going to talk about in this video. So these are derived from my stages of money. So there's a very clear order of money and how we need to be operating and how we need to be thinking through our money. So the first stage is awareness. And what this basically means is just trying to just look at the problem or the challenge or the thing that we're trying to improve in our finances, just looking at it, okay? So in this example, in terms of, hey, how much am I paying my future self? Well, we can just look at that information if you don't know it already. We could take how much money are you saving and investing, combine that together, and then how much money are you making every month? So we need a monthly number for saving and investing and a monthly number for how much we're making. So let's say you make $10,000 a month and you're saving and investing $1,000. Okay, well that's 10%. Okay, so now we are aware of how much we're doing. Now what would it look like if we were to reverse engineer to get back to 20%? So because this math is very simple, we would need to put another $1,000 towards saving and investing to reach that 20% mark. Now, maybe that sounds, like a lot, right? A big difference. And maybe it could be, but if you're living that, like, I don't want to call it paycheck to paycheck, but you're not gaining momentum every month, you make a lot of money, you just don't know where it's going. I'm actually doing a 1K challenge. It's 6 weeks. It's inside my personal finance community. And the goal is to help people unlock money that's hidden in their finances already with the income that they already have. And really, it's a challenge to see how much money can you kind of find in your finances, put it aside so that you can put it towards the financial goal that matters to you. Maybe that is retirement. Maybe that is putting money away for your kids. Maybe that is just building up that emergency fund to, feel a little safe just in case you lose your job or something like that. Maybe it is to pay off all your student loan debt. Whatever the thing is, we all have a reason why. So if you're interested, the link to my community is below this video, and come in there, say hello, and ask me about the 1K challenge. I'd be happy to see if you're a fit. So after awareness, the next stage here is action. So we've taken the awareness step. We are fully aware, okay, this is how much I'm putting towards my saving and investing. The next step is, okay, what's a logical step so that we can progress this forward and start making a plan? Now, it doesn't have to be the full plan. Like if you're at 5%, 10%, you don't have to jump to that 20% in like a week or something like that. But let's progress. So if you're at 10, it's like, okay, what do I have to do to get to 15? What do I have to do to get to 12, right? If you're at 5, it's like, what do I have to do to get to 10, right? So you just kind of map this out. So how I like to think through something like this is, well, let me start way back at the beginning. Because it's great to do this like mental math thing and try and figure out like, okay, what do I have to do? For my paycheck, blah, 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 blah. No. The first thing that I recommend people do is do something called a 3-month look back. What this is looking back 3 months worth of your expenses. You could even do this for income if you make a variable income, and you could really just see where your money has been going. So we look at debit cards, credit cards, cash. If you spend cash, it's a little harder to track that. Obviously, like 3 months ago, I don't even know what I had for breakfast 2 days ago, right? So I'm not going to know what I spent in cash 2 weeks ago, right? But we'll do the best that we can with this. It's not a perfect science thing, but it's just getting some data. So take your bank statements, your credit card statements, whatever, from the last 3 months. So I'm recording this in March. Take those and basically just put them through AI if you're comfortable doing that. So obviously don't share AI your bank information, but if you just take like the chunk of like the descriptions and the amounts and the dates and all that stuff and you throw it all into AI, I have a prompt in my community that people have been using where you throw all the stuff in, you give it the prompt, and it spits it out in this nice little table, and you can just sort of skim through it that way. And then if you want, you could throw it in Excel, do like pivot tables if you're comfortable with that to summarize everything. I mean, this activity could take less than 30 minutes. What used to take probably, depending on how many bank accounts people had, it could take like hours to do this 3-month look back. And I remember even like a year and a half ago when I was working with people, I wasn't really doing the AI angle of this, and there was so much friction towards this process because it would take people so long. But now it's just less than a half an hour if you have a normal amount of bank accounts, credit cards, whatever. So once we do that, let's just look at it. Okay, so January, February, March, how much did I spend in each of the categories? Now we are aware and we've taken action on what's been going on here. Now we want to take that information and kind of combine it with another step called the North Star goals. And what's going to be happening here, you're going to write down a list of the things that matter to you the most. These are life goals, financial goals, non-negotiables. They could be things that are happening in the current. They could be things that you want to happen in the future. But these are things that we want to give ourselves permission to put more resources towards: time, money, effort, sacrifice, all the good stuff, right? And the idea is we're going to push all the resources towards these things, and anything not on that list, we're giving ourselves permission to completely just stop doing or trim back or whatever you want to call it. Because at the end of the day, when you write down like 5 or 8 things that are really important to you and you continue to spend time, money, effort, sacrifice on things that don't matter, it's like, what's the point here? Why am I not putting more things towards these things, right? And it's really powerful. And this is how, quite honestly, people are just finding extra money in their finances every month, especially in my community. It's great. It's really great seeing the wins in there of people doing this. So once we do the North Star goals, we've had our 3-month look back, we combine them. Okay, where have we been spending our money? Where do we want to be spending our money? And then we sort of merge the two and we create a plan going forward. So there's going to be really, I guess, 3 words that I want you to think through this. exercise as you go through each category, as you're creating like your new budget, for example, like how much should I be spending every month in these categories with all this information? The 3 words are more, same, less. It's pretty simple, right? And here's what I mean. So let's start with same because it's pretty easy. Something that is, I guess, important, but it's not going to be on anyone's North Star goal list. So let's say like utilities. Like we probably need, we don't need electricity. There's people in the world that don't have electricity, but like it's kind of like a human right at this point. So that would be like a same. It's like, okay, let's just take the average of what we've been spending on utilities and just kind of make that the monthly amount that we will budget for, right? More is going to be, hey, I'm spending $20 for my gym membership and my health and fitness is on my North Star goal list. So, maybe I should be putting more time, money, effort, sacrifice towards this thing. So maybe I should bump it up from my $20 gym membership and maybe take some classes or, I don't know, do some supplement stuff, whatever. And it's like, okay, let's do $100 a month. Let's just start increasing that a little bit. Or less is the third one. So you could look and say like, oh my God, restaurants and dining out and food delivery costs $400 over the last 3 months. Like, well, I don't remember putting any of that, like, food delivery convenience on my North Star goal list. So, okay, let's maybe do less. Instead of 400, let's just plan for 100 or something like that. And that just kind of helps you free up money and we're exchanging it, right? And then the important step is, which sometimes I forget to mention, and some people don't do this step, which is why I'm locked in on it now and making sure I physically say it. We take the extra money that we found from doing this process and we apply it towards something on the North Star goal list. And ideally it's, a financial goal, because that's why I'm here. That's why we're talking. So ideally it's a financial goal like saving money or investing money, because we don't want to be these people anymore. Right? We don't want to be these 5%ers, right? We want to be like hanging out with these people up here on a regular basis though. We want to be at 20+%. That's the goal. That's the ideal thing. And that's when the real compounding happens. When my wife and I, we were paying off, we drew a line in the sand when we had all this debt. We're like, what are we doing? We have to like get our stuff together. We were planning on having kids, but like this would be a weight off our shoulders if we were able to get rid of this before our we ended up having our first kid and now we have 2, which is great. We drew a line in the sand and we went hard we paid it off in 13 months, $43,000 in 13 months, because that was our like North Star goal for that only time. And I wasn't even calling it that back then. I wasn't making, YouTube videos about finances or anything like that. I was just like, I have to do this. And we just went hard. And I don't know, we said no to a lot of things in life, like paid things with friends or family. We lied, unfortunately. We were like nervous that what people thought of us back then. Who cares, right? But we would say like, oh, we're sick or we're busy, because we didn't want to go to a paid event, because we're like, well, we don't want to spend $100 here. We'd rather just put it off to our debt and just freaking get rid of this thing. Because then what happened was we were paying off the debt, and then it was gone. And the amount of money that we were putting towards our debt was, I think, like $1,500, almost $2,000 a month towards it. And that's how it was like, at the end, it was just like steamrolling down, right? And we just rolled that into the next financial goal, which was first setting up our kids' 529, so the education savings plan. But then after that, we just pushed it towards brokerage accounts, investing stuff, Roth IRA, all the good stuff, index funds, all the buzzwords, right? We were doing all the stuff. And that's that period of time. So this was over 5 years ago. That period of time for like 2 to 3 years, again, we just went hard into these like wealth generating activities, which was awesome. So that was step 2, action. Step 3 here, and I figured out the whiteboard for this one. I think it's going to be really important. Let me take out the marker here. The third step here is accountability. Now, we went through awareness, action. Now this is accountability. So in this step, what we're going to do is be taking our action step, and we're going to be creating a more sustainable plan kind of going forward. And I talked about the 1K, 6-week sprint, and that will be a sprint. Like that's going to be kind of like an intense 6 weeks for people that really just want to start taking action on just like starting to gain momentum in their personal finances, starting to put money aside to the financial goal that matters to them. But really, the accountability stage is where we were like, okay, let's figure out a way that we can sustainably do something valuable towards our financial goals every month. So I like to think about this framework when I'm thinking about how much money I'm putting towards my financial goals every month. 50, 30, 20. Okay? So first, 50, this is saying 50% of our income should go towards need items. So think rent or mortgage, utilities, food, gas, whatever, right? Need items. Great. 30% of our income should go towards want items. So think Amazon, Starbucks, mocha latte, whatever. I don't know, like an amusement park, whatever, right? And then 20% is financial goals. Okay? And in theory, this is a great practice to do. This is a popular framework on the internet. I cannot take credit for this. The problem with this framework is obviously this. When people see the framework 50, 30, 20, what order do you think that they prioritize it in? Right. They prioritize it 50, 30, 20, right? Which means they plan for their need items, they buy all their want items, and then at the end of the month, if they have stuff left over, they put it towards their financial goals. This is why, I'm going to just keep pulling this chart up. This is why we live here in this 5% range for decades. This is why, right? Because we have good intentions with our financial goals, but we treat them like they are garbage. And we would rather have this, because this is easier. This is more fun, the want stuff, right? So what I want you to think through is 50, 20, 30. So we plan for our need items. We know what those are, okay? Those probably shouldn't change too much, right? And then we automate the financial goals. That way, we are not dependent on remembering. We are not dependent on something coming up in our life to like figure it out or whatever. We just automate the financial goals. So we get paid and we instantly move money somewhere else. We instantly move 20% somewhere else. Or if you're not at the 20% yet, we instantly, move. If you're 5%, you instantly move 10%. If you're at 10, you instantly move 13%. Just try and make some progress towards it. But by doing this, it then eliminates, it kind of boxes this in, and we kind of have to, this is the number that we can play with, the want. We don't want to be playing with this. We want to be playing with the want number, right? We want to be like, oh, wow, if an emergency comes up, we don't want to be sacrificing this. We want to be sacrificing this, because who cares? Who cares? The want items are fun in the moment, and I don't want to sound like I'm this super serious person here. And it can be hard to say no in the moment for something in the future when we don't know. It's not a guarantee in the future, but like, I don't know, an expensive toy. I almost said an expensive adult toy, but that's not this kind of channel. Can be fun in the moment, but we don't see the reward of the financial goals immediately, right? It just seems like almost it's like a bill. And that's kind of the way I want you to think through it, where this is like a bill for your future. This is a bill for now. This is a bill for your future. This is, I guess, a bill for now, most likely. But if we automate it, that's how we move forward with that. Because one last thing on this, since I've worked with a ton of people in their personal finances, I see this happening so much where people try to do this really hard. They know their need items. They automate their financial goals. But at the end of the month, it's like the 24th of the month, and something comes up, or they don't have a structure in place, and they, instead of automating, they have to pull this money back into like over here or something. So they take it out and then they move it back. So it's like they put it in their, Robinhood account, and then the 24th something comes up, they have to pull it back out because they need it for an emergency or for groceries. And it's like, this is you're not doing it the right order. Like, you're trying, the intentions are there, but we need to have a system first to be able to do this. Okay. So that's what I don't want for you. I don't want you to be it's like this, it's like a seesaw. That's how I call it. It's like this big seesaw where like you're just going up and down, up and down, up and down, and this is happening month over month. Let me know down in the comments if that's you. So that's the 50, 30, 20, or should I say the 50, 20, 30. So think through that. And even to start, if you just did 50, 10, 40, it's late. I had to do that math in my head. That's fine. Like just start doing more than what you're currently doing. And I think you'll be pretty proud of the results eventually, because at some point, you will continue to increase your income. You will continue to learn more skills and have a better understanding of your finances. And once you're doing the finances thing for a while, like your personal finances, you'll just understand what months are maybe going to be a little tougher, what months will be kind of more freeing. And I've been doing budgeting and personal finances for almost for 10 plus years, I guess. And it just gets easier. Like you just learn skills, you know how to see different patterns, right? And it's a lot easier. So I promised 3 steps, but of course I have to give you a bonus step because there's actually 4 stages of money. So we talked about awareness, we talked about action, we talked about accountability, and the 4th stage of money is called acceleration. And we kind of touched on it a little bit. This is where we're going to be putting our money to positive wealth generating activities. So basically growing our money and investing, right? That's what that is. And that's the fun, sexy thing. And that's where people also get hung up, because we as humans love the idea of accelerating our money. Oh my God, passive income. Wow, having my money make me money while I'm sleeping. Like that sounds amazing, right? But I think most of us, first of all, we should focus on like, how do I increase my active income? Even if you are a higher earner, it's like you could definitely like make more, and that would just increase your active. That's how I'm thinking through it personally. But really it's just, how do we do all these steps? How do we become aware of how much money we're putting towards our future financial goals? Great. How do we, what's a small step that we can take to move forward with that? How do we sustainably do that over time? And then how do we like continue to push the envelope to really help that compounding effect happen? So, not that I am the richest person in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but because, of us paying off our debt, which is a negative wealth generating activity, by the way, we want to be doing positive wealth generating activities. Because we got rid of the debt so aggressively and paid off the interest much, much faster than we would have because we were pushing at the debt so hard, we were able to, again, we pushed a lot of that money towards the investing side of things. And that's how we were able to grow our net worth. And not that I care about net worth, but it's a great measure just to see like the progress that you're making. So that's how I would think about that. And I have a great net worth tool inside of my personal finance community. But really what I want you to do, I think net worth tracking is a good way to see, hey, am I making progress? Because guess what? If you're starting at 5% for your financial goals, and after you watch this video, you're like, how do I get to 10? Guess what your net worth is going to do? It's going to go up. I mean, over time, like of course, short-term market stuff, whatever, but like long-term, it's going up. And then you go do that again. You're like, how do I go from 10 to 12? And then you stay there for a bit because maybe life is tight and that's fine. And then you get a raise and you're like, you know what? This whole raise is going to put me from 12 to 14. And you just keep inching your way up, and you could stop at any point too. 20% is just a really great number because it's going to do so much damage to positive damage to your bank account, to your future, your retirement, your kids' education, whatever the thing is, right? So that's all for this one. If you're interested in the 6-week 1K challenge, make sure to check the link below. It's inside of my personal finance community. Reach out, let me know like, hey, what's going on with the 1K challenge? And I'll, we could chat and see if you're a fit. But really, I'm just trying to work with people who want to take serious action and are ready for a little bit of a challenge, and they want to challenge themselves. That's why it's called a challenge. But really, it's to start gaining momentum, to realize that you have the capabilities to do this whenever you want. So So if this is something that you don't feel like you can do, you probably can, and you definitely can. Because imagine after this 6 weeks, you're able to do it. Let's say you save like you find $1,200, $1,500 in this time period. That's a card that you can pull out of your back pocket at any time when you want to or need to, and know that you have the capacity to do it. You've had leverage in the past of doing it, right? And you just get confidence, like, oh, I can just kind of turn this on whenever I need to or want to, so that I can get through a tough time financially, or just like start putting more money towards the financial goals. So that's it, guys. I will see you in the next one.